Hey everybody, welcome back to Laser Engraving 911. So if you've been wondering how to get excellent results with the Foil Laminator from eufyMake, this is definitely a video you're going to want to watch. And if you've been bothered by any of the odors coming off of your eufyMake,
stinky!
You too are going to want to watch this video because we're going to cover eufyMake's brand new fume extraction system and their vent hose adapter kit. Spoiler, it's amazing. So if that sounds like something you want to get into, then buckle up, get your pen and paper out, because we're about to get into it on Laser Engraving 911. So right, before we kick this thing off, let's get this new fume extraction system set up. This is how easy it is. Step 1, remove the front cover from the E1. Step 2, take out the existing charcoal filter. Step 3, attach the new eufyMake vent hose adapter right where the charcoal filter was and snap it in place.
Looks good.
Step 4, connect your hose. And from here, you've got a few options. You can run it directly to eufyMake's brand new fume extractor, or just use eufyMake's exhaust kit with inline fan. You've got options.
You got options.
I'm using the new extractor in this video today to really put it to the test, since we're going to be printing a bunch of white ink. And then step 5, turn on the eufyMake fume extractor, choose your setting, low, medium, or high, and you're ready to go. And that's it. Super simple, super clean, and surprisingly quiet.
Sure is quiet around here.
Now that we've got that all set up, I think we're going to move over to the laminator, and I'll show you how to get that set up so we can make some amazing foil art. All right, now we're going to do a quick little tutorial on how to load the foil into the laminator, so check this out. First thing you want to do, you want to open up the laminator, and you can see that your regular film for using decals is in here. Also note that I have the laminator turned off right now. You're going to open up these two tabs. You're going to pull this out and you're going to grab this on one side and this on the other side. You're going to remove this inner tray and just set it right there for now. And then inside of here, there's a little lever and you're going to release, and what that does is it releases the tension on the film that's already in there. And once that's released, you can just roll this up and pull it out. And you're gonna roll it up nice and tight. Because you're not using this for doing foil application. Next, we're going to put this back up because that's only to release the film that's in there. And we're gonna grab our foil that you can get from eufyMake. I'll list links in the description. If you don't have a laminator, we'll go ahead and list that too. First thing you wanna do is grab, don't even know what they're called. Don't really care.
Who cares?
You're gonna slide those in there. We're gonna take the tray that we pulled out and it just drops right in there, just like that. You're gonna take your foil, pay attention to the orientation. So we're going to set the foil in like this with the non-shiny side facing you, so this way. And we're gonna set it right in this little docking station and we're going to lock these clamps down. 1, 2, close the lid. We're not done yet. We still have to feed the foil through the machine and get it primed. At this point, we're gonna turn on the laminator and we're gonna use this little card that actually came with the unit, and you'll find that docked right up here. They have a little pocket for you to keep it in. We're just going to start to push this in and it will automatically grab the film. And what it's doing right now is it's not doing any heating, it's not doing any foiling, it's just feeding the foil through, getting it ready for foiling, which is what we're gonna do. And you'll see it come out the other side and it'll waste a little bit of foil. And this card isn't stuck to anything. And then it'll beep when it's stopped. This little cutter is always up. You're just gonna push that down and slide there. And that, unfortunately, is wasted foil. We are definitely going to be wasting some foil, but there's little tricks you can do to not waste so much. So now that we've loaded in the foil, we're ready to go ahead and start printing. And one last really important tip before we move on is that whenever you're doing foil lamination or foil art, you have to use flexible white ink. So make sure that you got that put in your eufyMake before you start printing flat raised white for foil lamination. All right, so we've got our laminator set up. We've got our eufyMake fume extractor hooked up. We've got the exhaust port kit hooked up. The next step is we're gonna actually start printing some flat raised white flexible ink on some different cards, and we're gonna laminate them with some foil. And because we're throwing down so much white ink using the flat raised feature for foiling, this is the perfect test for this machine. We're gonna turn it on. I'm gonna put it on full blast. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna put it on the highest setting. We are exhausting all those fumes going out the pipe and right into the fume extractor. We shouldn't smell anything. This is really gonna be a great test and also a great tutorial on how to get excellent foil results. So let's get into it. I've tried a bunch of different stuff. I really wanted to get a feel of how foil lamination was going to work across different materials and different types of projects. The first thing I tried was some watercolor paper with artwork my wife designed, and these turned out great. But this is also where I figured out something pretty important. If you want to get good foil lamination results on the first pass, here's a little trick that made a huge difference for me. Put a piece of cardboard underneath whatever you're laminating. You want about 0.75 millimeters of thickness, and I definitely wouldn't go over 1 millimeter. That little bit of extra thickness made a big difference. Without the cardboard underneath, I found myself having to run a second pass on a lot of things that I tested. But once I added it, I started getting way better, consistent results. And from there, I pretty much just started testing all kinds of stuff. I even tried laminating on stone light sheets. Yeah, real stone. I have a video on this stuff. If you haven't seen it already, you can check it out here. But by far, the coolest thing that I made were these playing cards. I love how these turned out. And there's actually a little bit more to making these than just throwing the card in and some foil over it. So let me break down exactly how I made these so you can start making cool cards like this too. So I wanted to break down the artwork preparation that went into making these playing cards, demonstration of the different files and how I use them. These right here are the outlines of the playing cards that I'm going to print on the Seclima matte bed so I know where to place my cards. The next file, it's a black background, and the only purpose that I'm going to use this over at the eufyMake software is so I can see my white border that I'm going to be printing on the cards for the foil application. You can't just bring in a black border and then convert it to white ink. For some reason, when you do that, it still prints black on top of the white. So I don't know if it's a bug they're working out. The color of your art should be white already. So I'm giving myself a temporary black background so I can make sure that my border is registered properly. The next file is a set of just the color artwork in CMYK printing. And it's also aligned with these other borders and stuff. And that's because I want to add color to the playing cards as well. This represents the actual flat raised border that I'll be printing on the cards along with the color print so we can do the foiling. And this right here represents what the actual file looks like that we're sending to the printer. All these other things right here, we're going to get rid of those layers before we send it to the printer. We don't need those. They're just for me. And so I can make sure that everything's registered properly. So they're like temporary files. So we're over here at the eufyMake software now, and I'm going to show you how I use all those files that I made at Illustrator. And I'm going to import the first file that I would print in this project, which is the trace outlines. I can print these first in just CMYK to print on my Seclima mat. And then when it's done, I'm going to place my blank cards in that slot. After that is printed, the next thing I would bring in is my black background. So we just printed this out and I placed my cards on the mat. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave those on the screen and put my black backgrounds and snap it. Snap! The next thing I'm gonna bring in is my white border prints that are going to print flat raised white with flexible ink. You cannot see them as I bring them here because snapping's turned on. I'm just gonna let go. I can see that we're perfectly registered right in the middle. And this is really important. So just the white border, I'm going to pick flat raised. And then down here, we're going to pick white foil stamping. We're gonna leave the thickness exactly where it is. And then the final layer we're going to bring in is the color layer. And there's our color. And once again, it's going to snap right where we need it to be. And on that layer, I'm just going to pick CMYK, just like that. Now, what about those layers that we don't need? Super simple. We're going to go over to the layers icon over here, and we're going to turn off the black background, and we're gonna turn off the trace. And now the only thing that's left on the screen is our flat raised border and our CMYK prints. And at this point, the only thing left to do is to send these over to the printer and see how we do.
Technically, you could do almost a whole deck on the large bed. Maybe not the whole deck, might take a couple of beds, but if you really wanted to make a custom set of playing cards, you could do it on this machine. And there we go. Total project time, 30 minutes. Not too bad. I was expecting more.
Doing foil artwork or foil prints, some of these white prints, because it's built up white, is going to take some time. So there is some time involved in doing this and some use of flexible ink. So let's go ahead and get this started, and while that's going, we'll talk a little bit about the eufyMake fume extractor system and the exhaust hose setup. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. Personally, I am not affected. The smell of UV ink curing in any system that I've used doesn't really bother me. It doesn't burn my eyes, it doesn't burn my nose. That does not mean that there are people out there that are highly sensitive to odors of UV ink and other odors, and I totally get that. And I think eufyMake gets that too, and that's why they came out with this accessory. It was actually designed perfectly for this machine. I think it looks really nice when it's installed. It looks like it's a part of the machine. It is really sharp and really cool. And right now, I can tell you that it's doing a very good job, even with the doors open. It's still extracting any odors. Normally I smell like a little bit, but I can't smell anything right now. So it's really doing a good job, and the back and the front are open. If you didn't want to get their fume extractor, which has the HEPA filter, all the charcoal, the proper filters to get rid of all those VOCs, any kind of odor from the UV ink curing, you can just get the exhaust kit, which I think is a great attachment. I think that it's a great addition, although I don't really need it in my shop. I know that a lot of you have been wanting something like this instead of some kind of crazy tent or enclosure. Some of the stuff I've seen online, it's a great deal. So right now, I'll list links in the description below if you're interested, and I think they really listen to everybody. Right on, eufyMake.
Absolutely savage. Those came out so good. You can see that flat raised right there. That's where the foil is going to adhere to because we're using the flexible ink. Okay, so this is warmed up. Instead of doing these one at a time, try to maximize my foil. I have a larger piece of cardstock that's actually almost the full width of this. So I'm going to lay these like this so I get that extra pressure.
And what this does is it makes it thicker, so the rollers and the heating element presses down harder to get better adhesion to the flexible ink.
All right, you ready? Here we go. Got that cardboard came out. Oh, damn. What? Those came out so sick. How cool is that? Those are sharp.
All right, well, I think that wraps up this video. I wanted to recap what we learned today, and then we'll talk a little bit about the fume extraction system. What did I learn along the way?
Now, what did we learn from this?
I learned that swapping in the foil in the laminator is not a big deal. You don't have to print the flat raised and really jack up the amount of soft white ink, because you can use a hard backer like the cardboard that we used to really make sure that the foil gets pressed even on the minimum amount of flexible ink that you can print for doing foil application. We also learned that we can print on stone. It wasn't perfect, but Stone Light has some other stone veneer like this that's even smoother, and I know that that is probably a much better fit. We found out that we can definitely print on paper. This is some watercolor paper, and this is a beautiful blank menu that I could sell to one of my customers, and then they can put their custom items on here. We did some amazing stuff on my wife's watercolor artwork, and the level of detail that the laminator and the foil was able to get, every little dot, every little speck was foiled on this. And then my favorite was the custom playing cards. These playing cards came out fantastic, and I'm really proud of myself. My goal was to show you that you can create some luxurious items using the foil application and the laminator. So if you don't have the laminator yet, I'll put a link in the description. You should pick that up and get yourself some foil. They also have, I think, silver and maybe some other colors as well. And then finally, I didn't really show this in the video, but I did go ahead and print on a wooden business card, and this came out fantastic. I didn't even have to put a backer on this because it's already pretty thick, but this came out super pro. I did try to print on leatherette. I did try to print on felt, and because they're so squishy, I did have a difficult time getting the gold to bond to those. Maybe I could have printed a higher flat raised. I'm sure that with a little bit more tweaking here and there, there's probably a way to print on leatherette and then do the foil application. And what are my thoughts on the actual fume extractor system? One of the things I really like about it is just how basic it is and how easy it is to use. It's kind of a no-brainer. I would definitely go with the combo unit. If you are sensitive to smells or you work in a tight area where the smell is bothering other people, this is definitely an accessory that was built by eufyMake because they're listening to you. So listen, I want to thank eufyMake again for sponsoring this video and allowing me to try out their new fume extractor system. I think it works great. We'll see you around on Laser Engraving 911.